Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review, and our last Monday Night Raw review for the year. And I gotta say, for this being our show before we ride off into the sunset for the year, let me put it to you this way. If you compared it to SummerSlam, this Raw blew it out of the water. And in that case, a lot of people who bought SummerSlam through a, traditional pay-per-view provider had to be pretty pissed. Meanwhile, JBL was somewhere in the back laughing, ha, should have paid that $9.99, Michael. But, yeah, this Raw really did pack a punch. It wasn't anything exemplary, as there were some dips in the show. But we got some returns, some debuts, some exciting matches, even a little bit of build for Night of Champions. So all around, I would say, yeah, I would give a thumbs up to the show. I would give it the nod. Ashton, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much better the show was than SummerSlam last night. And, I mean, even if you would take away the technical difficulties that we had to deal with last night, if we would go back and watch SummerSlam a second time over, I still don't think it would have been exciting as this show. And I'm beginning to think that it's intentional. Yeah,
it's funny because me and Ashton were conversing about it. And Ashton, didn't you come right out to me and say that you feel like that was a tactic by, WWE to say, well, if you didn't want to lose, so much money, just go with the network, because the network really is just $9.99. So even if it's a bad show, you're only out $10 as opposed to $50.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the WWE really needs to kind of almost revolutionize their business model because of the network, because they're so used to kind of building up to pay-per-views and then having everything that people would want to put money into happen on the pay-per-views. Well, now they don't really need to do that anymore, because if people have the network, the pay-per-views aren't the only thing that people buy the network for anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And even further than that, people paying for the network aren't necessarily going to be encouraged to keep the network just because of a good pay-per-view. They'll be encouraged to keep the network if they get awesome Raws and awesome build-up to the pay-per-views.
Exactly. The network isn't just a kind of pay-per-view service. It's an all-around service to WWE content in general. And, you're right. I do think there definitely needs to be some working, with its marketing and this and that. And this could be a ploy by WWE to say, well, see, if you had the network, maybe you wouldn't be so miffed either because of technical difficulties or just because of the shoddiness of the card or what have you. But yeah, this Raw, again, there were some bumps in it. There were some hiccups that kind of made me groan and made me lose my attention. But overall, again, for a Raw that's compared to SummerSlam, if SummerSlam was the bar, this Raw vaulted over it, in my view.
Yep.
And it just barely stuck the landing, I feel like. So, yeah, this Raw gets a passing grade from me. And unless you have anything else you want to say, we can get right into our first segment.
Absolutely. Let's get into it. You were just talking about how there were some hiccups. Let's get into that.
All right. Heat of the night. I've only really got one heat of the night, and I think you and I might share this one, though I never like to speak for you, because I know you actually brought this to my attention to begin with, and the more I thought about it, the more, miffed I became about it. Why do we have an exact SummerSlam return match on this card? We got Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Now, granted, the finish of that match was amazing, which is why maybe I'll downgrade this from a heat of the night to a nitpick, because it was just so good and I can't wait to discuss it. But still, I wonder if we couldn't have had a little bit of a better road to get there, a more original road, if you will. Seeing as how, to your point, Ashton, when we were talking about it, this was one of the few matches on the SummerSlam card that had a clean finish. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me, the issue was, if yesterday Ambrose and Reigns proved that they were the better team, why are you having this match again? But I honestly forgave it because of what happened because of it.
Yeah, like I said, I think because of just the epicness of what happened in the post-match, which we will get to, I'll downgrade it to a nitpick. But still, I just think maybe a bit more ingenuity. I mean, even though, again, just really well done. Maybe just the road to getting there could have been a little bit better, a little bit different, if you will. But yeah, that's the only thing I really wanted to address. Everything else, yeah, seemed pretty par for the course and
It's
even
one of those
great
things
times.
where it kind of felt like the WWE was just trying to squeeze that last little tiny bit of juice out of this feud. And
Right.
where in reality they were actually adding a little bit extra to it to make it more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really all for me. I don't want to harp on this issue, especially when we have a great discussion upcoming revolving around the same segment. So, Ashton, do you have any heats of the night tonight?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember this, but I made it perfectly clear that when the NXT women got called up to WWE, we were ditching the no more female-related heat of the night rule.
Yes.
And this isn't even a heat of the night on the women. It's a heat of the night on the way that the women are being treated.
Okay, let's have at it.
This whole Divas Revolution thing is a joke. The entire purpose of it is for them to try and satiate the hardcore fans and the NXT fans while Nikki breaks the record.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with them using Nikki to break the record. I don't mind that at all. What I have a problem with is them using that to basically be lazy with everything that they're doing in the Divas division. Let's put it this way, John. Nikki Bella is going to break that record in, I think it was 22 days. It was 3 weeks and a day. What do they do after she breaks that record? What exactly can they do after that? And to me, the most meaningful thing that they could do is find a contender, establish somebody that can challenge Nikki Bella for the title, and have a legitimate one-on-one Divas Championship match at Night of Champions. Now, it seems to me like the WWE is just kind of throwing their hands in the air, and they're just like, well, until Nikki Bella breaks this record, we don't really have any kind of room for a number one contender.
Which, to me is very perplexing. And really, Ashton, I would just kind of sum up, well, at least, my interpretation of your heat of the night ultimately is a missed opportunity, because all of these women, they have a segment tonight on Miz TV. Starts out with PCB and the Bellas interrupt it. And Nikki is just droning on and on and on about, how because she has the championship, they can keep their win at SummerSlam, and really they can keep their Revolution, because as long as they have the championship, they're on top. And Nikki, of course, does make reference to the record that you just spoke of.
Yeah.
So you'd think that Stephanie McMahon, for instance, would interrupt, because she's really been kind of the figurehead, kind of talking about the women on the main roster. She made an appearance at TakeOver Brooklyn to do the introductions for Sasha versus Bayley. And you'd think she'd come out and be like, well, hold on, Nikki. You're not going to break that record, just by sitting at home, or you're not going to do it with ease, more or less, and then establish a way to get to a Contender Night of Champions. The fact that there was no comeuppance for Nikki's bragging, and we just got a standard 6-person tag, right after this whole segment, really left a bad taste in my mouth, because I'm like, God, and it doesn't really help. And I know you and I have been very praiseworthy of The Miz lately, but when you misfire, you misfire, and that goes with anybody, whether we love him or hate him. I really didn't like his interactions with the women here, and I think I would have liked it more had the women actually put the boots to him, but that was stopped by the Bellas. So the whole segment that they had tonight just felt off to me. I really couldn't get into it, dude.
Do you want to know when the last time was that Nikki Bella defended the Divas Championship on a show that was available to watch either on TV or on the network?
When was it?
Beast in the East.
Wow.
The 4th of July.
Holy crap.
It was that long ago.
And see, like, they invoke it when it's convenient, and mainly, against heels. Oh, a champion's got to defend their title every 30 days. Yeah, my ass.
Yeah, it has been over 7 weeks. It's been 51 days now since her last title defense on television. Now, if you're also counting like live events, it's still the last time she defended that title was July 12th. So it's not that much more recent, and it's still we're still over the 30-day mark.
Right.
And if you only count television, because again, the Beast in the East wasn't even on TV. It wasn't like a pay-per-view that people could buy. It was just a straight up live special on the WWE network, happened at 5:30 in the morning. So if you're actually only counting televised shows, she hasn't defended that championship since Money in the Bank.
Wow.
That was June 14th for those of you missing or not that don't know dates and stuff like that. Yeah, that was the last time that she has defended the championship on a show that was available on pay-per-view or television. Now, obviously, that was a pay-per-view. If I wanted to go on television, I'd have to look even further back. It was Monday Night Raw on June 1st was the last time she defended the title on TV. But we'll count the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was Money in the Bank. The last time she defended it in a way that people could actually see it without having a ticket was Beast in the East. And the last time she defended it just kind of in general was in a triple threat with Naomi and Paige on the WWE Live SummerSlam Heatwave Tour on July 12th. That's the last time.
I'd say, Ashton, I think you said it best when you introduced your Heat of the Night, when you said this isn't even a Heat of the Night on the women, it's how they're being treated, because I can't even hate per se on the Bellas, because I at least appreciated that Nikki was trying to heal it up, bragging about her title reign and saying, well, as long as I have this, you guys really won't have anything, and this revolution won't matter. But, you know, it's really not going to mean much when the heel's trying to generate that heat and they don't pay the price for it. Again, it's all about that comeuppance. If somebody would have just interrupted her, or if some contendership would have been announced, then Nikki would have had to be, you know, fearful, frightful for her championship reign, and the same thing she was bragging about. Why should she feel in danger right now? Especially considering what happened after that segment, you know, in that 6-person tag match when, you know, Team Bella did get the win. So it's like, you know, not only are they bragging, not only are they shoving in people's faces, but they're coming out on top. And I get, you know, in a way that's what a heel is supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I just feel like she should have some threat before her is my point. I just couldn't get into this at all again. So I'm really glad you brought that up, dude.
Yeah, I think really, like, just kind of, you know what? No, I'm going to make that a second Heat of the Night. A second Heat of the Night, also involving the Divas, though, is that, and just, this is, the first one was just kind of an in general, the Divas Revolution is a front for the WWE trying to stall for Nikki Bella to break the record, and that's stupid. My second Heat of the Night, though, is that heels in this entire Miz TV Divas segment got nothing. The heels were doing all this trash talking between Nikki Bella talking about how she doesn't care about the win last night as long as she has the title, Alicia Fox talking about how Becky Lynch and all these other NXT girls are just like a flavor of the month, and then The Miz saying that they wrestle like girls, and nothing bad happened to any of them. Nothing, no comeuppances were had whatsoever.
Right. You know, it's like we were just talking about, like, nobody paid any kind of a price. Again, you know, Miz especially, because, like, that just really felt disjointed to me.
Well, and it's so stupid because the WWE and specifically NXT literally just did the spoof of that commercial, people saying that they do stuff like a girl and they're proud of that because women are strong.
Yeah.
And then The Miz says that, and I props to The Miz because that was a great heel thing to say, but then you got to do something to him for it.
And that's just it. I can't even really hate on The Miz. Again, it's like, I'll call them the powers that be, because I feel like it could have been a great segment maybe if Paige, Charlotte, and Becky, I don't know, all did kind of signature moves to The Miz or something like that. You know, these women, when they say it's the dawning of, like, the age of the female athlete, well, what better way than kicking a man's ass who's talking crap to you? Kind of like that interviewer when he was talking smack to Ronda Rousey, like, oh, I don't think you could beat me up, and she slammed him and actually broke a few of his ribs. Imagine Miz talking trash to these three women, and they just beat the crap out of him. You know, or they at least threw in his face, well, at least, you know, we won our match at SummerSlam last night or something. I just felt like Miz got away scot-free.
It's just ridiculous, too. Like, Stephanie McMahon does all this touting. Ronda Rousey is amazing, and we want our women to be like that. And then the WWE writers continue to kind of put forward this idea that WWE divas are all catty, they all hate each other, and they're all just stereotypical women. In Vince McMahon's eyes.
Yeah, you know, I
knew this was going to happen. When the NXT girls got called up, I knew this was going to happen. I knew they were going to get stereotyped. I knew they were going to fall into their own little niche. And not only did they fall into their own little niche in a hypothetical way, but they're literally in niches. Sasha is with Naomi and Tamina for no reason other than the fact that she's black. And then Becky and Charlotte got teamed with Paige for no other reason than the fact that they're both like super pale skinned, and like it's the baby faces are all white, and then the tweeners, it's two white girls and a black girl, and then the heels are all black girls. How insanely racist and obnoxious is this?
It's crazy to me. There's no depth, there's no anything. I mean, guys,
you know what I'd like to see?
What's that?
This is entirely fantasy booking, but I do think that it's plausible.
Okay.
Becky, Charlotte, and Paige continue kind of fighting this losing fight against Alicia, Brie, and Nikki, with Bad kind of playing the sidelines.
Right.
And then Bad gets into one of these brawls, but they're on different sides. Sasha tries to help Becky, Charlotte, and Paige. Meanwhile, Naomi and Tamina are attacking Becky, Charlotte, and Paige.
Right, okay.
So now we have a divide. It's 4-on-5, and that's how you call Bayley up. You get Becky, Charlotte, Paige, Bayley, and Sasha versus Alicia, Brie, Nikki, Naomi, and Tamina. That's Survivor Series right there.
I love it. Can I say something else too?
Sure.
Before we move on, just as a nitpick, because you kind of reminded me of a second nitpick. You know, kind of gave me another one.
Good.
I didn't like that Team Bad didn't have any kind of presence on this show.
Honestly, that's kind of what I was hoping would happen when the whole "you wrestle like a girl" comment came out. I was expecting Sasha to come out and be like, excuse me, you're right, I do wrestle like a girl, and I'm damn proud of that because I'm a woman and women are powerful, and just kind of do the whole sass thing. But no, Miz just got away with it. He started the fight and then left.
Now, I could understand if maybe somebody in the comments or somebody somewhere would do a counter argument. Well, John, Team Bad was the first team eliminated last night. Maybe they're just out of the picture. But you at least want to keep Sasha Banks relevant because she made Nikki Bella tap out.
Chanting, "We want Sasha."
Yeah, Sasha Banks made Nikki Bella tap out. The crowd wanted it. If anything else, even if you don't care about Team Bad, which I couldn't blame you because, to be honest, I don't either, with the exception of course, of Sasha Banks, you want to keep Sasha strong because, yeah, she should have come out there. She should have shut Nikki Bella up with her bragging. She sure as hell should have shut Miz up for his comments. And I feel like Sasha Banks being nowhere near any of this, it's like, I don't want to go as far as to say she's an afterthought because I think that's hyperbole. But in the context of this one segment, I mean, kind of, yeah. She was nowhere to be found. And, it sucks. Now, I'm hoping she kind of reestablishes a footing in all of this, maybe next Raw or even on SmackDown this Thursday. But I just feel like, man, they missed the mark all over the place with this.
Yeah, it was bad. And this really, we're talking about, this was a decent Raw with a few hiccups. This was the biggest hiccup by miles.
Oh, yeah, without question.
This segment and the preceding match put me in a bad mood.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. But do you have any other heats tonight or nitpicks?
Oh, let's see. I don't think so, no. I don't think I have any other big problems with this show. There was too much good on this show to continue complaining.
All right, well, I agree with you.